Hello guys, how are you? My name is Professor Aftab Khan and I'm teaching you economics. You also know me since a very long time and I'm teaching you this subject and our course name is Principles of Economics, and in the continuation of those our previous lectures which we did our past, so definitely we will understand this in today's lecture regarding the 10 principles of economics. So our chapter into our today's chapter name is 10 principles of economics. Okay, and what are the 10 principles of economics? Which are as follows. The first principle is people face trade-offs. The people face trade-offs. The second one is the cost of something is what you give up to get it. The third one is rational people think at the margin. The fourth one is people respond to incentives. The fifth one is trade can make everyone better off. The sixth one is markets are usually a good way to organize economic activity. The seventh principle is the governments can sometimes improve market outcomes. The eighth principle is a country's standard of living depends on its ability to produce goods and services. The ninth one is the prices rise when the government prints too much money. And the last one is society faces a short run trade off between inflation and unemployment. So these are the principles which we're gonna discuss in today's lecture and in today's chapter. So now we will discuss the first principle of economics. The first one is the principle of the people face trade-offs. Actually, my dear students, there is no such thing, such a lunch to get one thing that we like, and we usually have to give up another thing that we like. Making decisions requires trading one goal for another. Okay, so these are the decisions of life. We have to choose one thing and we have to leave another thing, because if we choose both of the same thing simultaneously, we cannot keep this, or we cannot go on the right track. We have to choose one track. If we choose both tracks, it's not possible to walk. We have to choose one way and we have to decide which way is better for us. Okay, so this is the principle of which is known as the people face trade-off. So in this economic principle, basically, these are an example is include how students spend their time, how a family decides to spend its income, how the government spends its revenue, and how regulations may protect the environment at a cost to firm owners. Okay, so the definition of efficiency, the property of society getting the maximum benefits from its scarce resources. The definition of equality, the property of distributing economic prosperity fairly among the members of the society, for example, tax paid by wealth people and then distributed to poor may improve equality but lower the incentives for hard work, and therefore it reduces the level of output produced by our resources. This implies that cost of this increased equality is a reduction in the efficient use of our resources. Another example is guns and butter. Guns and butter. The more was spent on national defense guns to protect our borders, the less can spend on consumer goods butter to raise our standards of living at home. It recognizing that trade-offs exist not to include that decisions should or will be made. So now the second principle of economics is the significance of opportunity cost in decision making. This opportunity cost we also discussed in our previous lecture, and now we're gonna discuss as the principle of economics. Okay, the opportunity cost means that the next best alternative forgone, which means that what is our next best choice. Okay, for example, if I have for example $10 in my pocket and I have to buy meat, I have to buy chicken, okay, but the problem is that when I and 1 kilogram chicken, but the problem is that when I went to the chicken meat shop to buy chicken, you know, the cost of the chicken in 1 kilogram is $11. So if this is possible, is it possible that can I buy chicken if I have only $10 in my pocket and I will, and the cost of the chicken is $11? No, it's not possible, because the cost is $1 more and my budget is $1 less. So I have to go any other, I have to search any other item which is the next best alternative. So what is the other alternative? Maybe fish meat. So I went to the fish market and I check what is the cost of 1 kilogram fish. I find out that the cost of the 1 kilogram fish is $10 1 kilogram. So definitely this $10 per kilogram is my budget and I can easily buy this. Okay, so this is known as the next best alternative. So the next best alternative in this scenario is basically the cost of the fish. So the fish, I bought it, I purchased the fish, and you know, my demand, which is according to my requirement, which is of $10, is according to my needs, and I will fulfill my next best alternative. I fulfill my desire with the help of the next best alternative foregone. So this is known as the opportunity cost. So the opportunity cost is the next best alternative foregone. Okay, so this is the meaning of this. So in the decision making, we are doing this type of things for the opportunity cost. And then our third principle is rational people think at the margin. You know, the economists generally assume that people are rational. The definition of rational is it is a systematic and purposely doing the best you can do to achieve your objectives. This is known as rational people think at the margin. This is our third principle, which means that we are doing our best, we are doing our level best to achieve our goals, to achieve our objectives. This is known as the rational people think at the margin. Okay, many decisions involves in our life, which is just like an invoice, incremental decisions. Should I remain in school in this semester? Should I take another course in this semester? Should I study an additional hour for tomorrow's exam? Rational people often make decisions by comparing marginal benefits and marginal costs. If the additional satisfaction obtained by an addition in the units of a commodity is equal to the price a consumer is willing to pay for that commodity, he achieves maximum satisfaction, which is the main goal of every rational consumer. For example, it's supposed that flying a 200-seat plane across the country cost in the airline is $1 million, which means that the average cost of each seat is $5,000. Suppose that the plane is minutes away from departure and a passenger is willing to pay $3,000 for a seat. Should the airline sell the seat for $3,000? In this case, the marginal cost of an additional passenger is very small. Okay, the marginal cost of the additional passenger is very small. Another example, why is water so cheap while diamonds are expensive? See, if you buy a diamond, it is expensive, but if you buy a water, it is very cheap. Because water is plentiful. Water is plentiful. Plentiful means that affluence means that highly available, high quantity of water available. But if you find the quantity of diamond, I don't think so. That diamond is a cheapest, is the rarest thing you will ever find in any place. That's why diamond is precious and water is less precious. Okay, because the quantity of water is more and the quantity of diamond is very less. In this scenario, the marginal benefit of an additional cup is small because diamonds are rare. Diamonds are few. The marginal benefit of an extra diamond is high. So this is known as the principles which is belongs with the marginal value, which belongs with the rational people think at the margin. Okay, and then people respond to the incentive. Incentive is something that includes a person to act by offering rewards to people who change their behavior. Because rational people make decisions by comparing costs and benefits, they respond to incentives. Incentives may possess a negative or positive intentions. It may be in positive or a negative way. For example, by offering a raise in the salary of whosoever works harder can include people to work hard, which is a positive incentive, whereas putting a tax on a good salary, say fuel, can induce people to consume itself with less, which is a negative incentive. And then how people interact with each other. Trade can make everyone better off. Trade is not like a sports competition where one side gains and the other side losses. It considers trade that takes place inside your home. Your family is likely to be involved in trade with other families on a daily basis. Most families do not build their own homes, make their own clothes, or grow their own food. Countries benefit from trading with one another as well. Trade allows for specialization in products that benefit countries or families. For example, it was widely believed for centuries that in international trade, one country's gain from an exchange must be the other country's loss. The markets, the fifth principle is the markets are usually a good way to organize economic activity. Many countries, my dear students, that once had centrally planned economies have abandoned this system and are trying to develop market economies. So the definition of market economy is an economy that allocates resources through a decentralized decisions of many firms and households as they interact in markets for goods and services. Market prices reflects both the value of a product to consumers and the cost of the resources used to produce it. Its centrally planned economies have failed because they did not allow the market to work. The Adam Smith, which we already discussed thoroughly in the previous weeks about the invisible hands. So the Adam Smith informed us in the late 1776 work suggested that although individuals are motivated by self-interest, an invisible hand, guides this self-interest into promoting society's economic well-being. Okay, so which means that markets are where the buyers and sellers can meet to get goods and exchange items. Government can sometimes improve market outcomes. There are two broad reasons for the government to interfere with the economy: the promotion of efficiency and equality. So the government policy can be most useful where there is market failure. The definition of market failure is a situation in which a market left on its own fails to allocate resources efficiently. The examples of market failure is the definition of externality, the impact of one person's actions on the well-being of by bystander. For example, pollution. Definition of market power. This is the ability of a single economy factor or a small group of factors to have a substantial influence on market prices, because a market economy rewards people for their ability to produce things that other people are willing to pay for, or and there will be an equal distribution of economic prosperity. Note that this is the principle. It states the government can improve market outcomes. This is not saying that the government always does improve market outcomes and etc. etc. Another principle is the forces and trends that affect how the economy as a whole works. A country's standard of living depends on country's production. Okay, this is a very important factor, my dear student. A country's standard of living depends on the country's production. The differences in the standard of living from one country to another are quite large. Changes in living standards over time are also quite large. The explanation for differences in living standards lies in differences in productivity. The definition of productivity: this is the quantity of goods and services and produced from each hour for a worker's time. It is a high productivity implies a high standard of living. Thus, policymakers must understand the impact of any policy or on our ability to produce goods and services. This is to boost living standards. The policymakers need to raise productivity by ensuring that workers are well educated, they have tools needed to produce goods and services, and have the access to the best available technology, the per capita income of a nation. This principle also relates with the human capital. And what is the meaning of human capital? The accumulation of human skills. And what are the human skills? For example, if you are MBA graduate, if you are business graduate, you are doctors, if you are engineers, if you are PhDs, if you have a knowledge, you have a degrees, this is known as the accumulation of human capital. The accumulation of human knowledge. This is the best skills any country has, and if any country has this type of skills, the country's economy is boosted, the country's production is boosted, and vice versa. Okay, this is a very good thing, and this is a very, you can say that this is a very good example of a country's wealth distribution and of a country's economic progress, dependency of its progress, dependency on its progression. And then prices rise when the government prints too much money. Always be remember, when the government prints too much money, the prices will be rise. And the definition of inflation is sustained increase in the overall level of prices in the economy. When the government creates a large amount of money, the value of money falls. For example, Germany after World War I in the early 1920s, in the United States in the 1970s, and in Zimbabwe in 2000. Society faces a short-run trade-off between inflation and unemployment. Most economists believe that the short-run effect of a monetary injecting adding value into the economy is lower unemployment and higher prices. An increase in the amount of money in the economy stimulates spending and increases the demand of goods and services in the economy. Higher demand may over time causes firms to raise their prices, but in the meantime, it also encourages them to increase the quality of goods and services they produce and to hire more workers to produce those goods and services. More hiring means lower unemployment. some economists, questions whether the relationship still exists, the short run trade off inflation between unemployment, okay, plays a key role in the analysis of the business cycle, and the definition of business cycle fluctuates in economy activities such as employment and production. Policymakers can exploit the trade off by using various policy instruments by the extent of and desire of their interventions in a subject of continuing debate. Okay, so these are the things which we're going to discuss in today's lecture, in which these are the 10 principles or the 10 basic principles of economies, and the outlines of these principles. The first one which we discussed today is the people face trade-offs. The second one is the cost of something is something to give up to get it. Rational people think at the margin. People respond to incentives. Trade can make everyone better off. Markets are usually a good way to organize economic activity. Governments can sometimes improve market outcomes. A country's standard of living depends on its ability to produce goods and services. Prices rise when the government prints too much money. Society faces a short-run trade-off between inflation and unemployment, and vice versa. So these are the things which we're gonna discuss in today's chapter, in today's week, and I hope you will learn this. I hope you enjoy this learning. It's a very interesting thing which we're gonna discuss, and these are the 10 basic principles of economic subject. And if you learn this, you will never forget economics, because these are the basic factors. This also generates from the concept of the Adam Smith, the division of labor, who is the scholar. We can say that Adam Smith was the father of economics, and who invented economics, and who invented the division of labor, which is the land, which is the labor, and the capital cost, and vice versa. So these are the things which we're gonna discuss in today's lecture, and I hope you will learn this, you understand this. Again, I'm repeating my information to you, that please, I'm requesting this, and please submit me your assignment on time, submit me your projects on time. There will be no physical exam. All the this semester or this economics course is online because of the coronavirus threat. You people also know this. Because of the coronavirus problem, our whole semester is online, and there will be no physical exam at all. Yes, the exam will be online, which is the same thing which we already given you, the assignments and the projects which I already submitted to you. Please, my dear students, give me your assignments on time, submit me on time. And it is for those students who have not uploaded their assignments on the cyber YSU website. And if you have any comment, any wants to know any answer which you have not find out in this, or any confusion if you have, you can email me. You can also send me in this in our cyber website, which is via cyber YSU website. You can send me any question if you want to ask from me. I will welcome you, and I will give you the response accordingly, an urgent response accordingly, to help you as a professor. And I hope you will learn this. I hope you will enjoy. You are enjoying economics as a good subject, and with the help of this subject, you understand the benefits of economics and how economy is helpful in our life decision making. What is the opportunity cost, what is the next best alternative for gone, which we already discussed today, which is a very important aspect. And we also discussed a very good example of chicken and fish. According to our pocket, it is according to our budget, what is our budget is, and vice versa. I hope you will learn this, you understand this subject. So these are the outlines in which are the 10 principles of economics, which replicates in this principles, and these principles are also very valuable for our understanding. This is our precious time which we spend in this course, and because university life is a precious life, and I hope you understand this precious learning, and you will ever always remember this learning in in your whole life. Okay, so I hope you understand this subject, you learn this subject, you enjoy this subject in a positive manner. Again, I am repeating you, is for those students who have not submitted me their assignment on time, please submit it to me, and ignore those students who are already submitted to me. I will give you the grading accordingly, according to your work. And in the meanwhile, we will continue in the next week. We'll meet again. Till then, to be continued, and goodbye. Thank you very much.